Hello, my name is Ryan Hansen with Coda Technology. Today I'm going to be talking about IT housekeeping during COVID-19. A little bit about me. I'm the owner of Coda Technology. I come from a dental family. My wife is a dentist. My sister is an instructor for dental assisting. My father-in-law is a retired dentist, and my sister-in-law is a practicing dentist. We support practices throughout South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, and Nebraska. We're currently headquartered in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and shortly we are establishing a Fargo office as well. And our core focus is proactive IT support. So rather than focusing on problems when they come up, we focus on issues before they become problems. Our main goal is that you never have a chair that's down, and sometimes it's unavoidable, but with a proactive approach, you are just more efficient overall because you don't have as many IT problems. I'm a visual person, and I absolutely love this image, especially as it relates to, I guess, my world, IT and security. When I see this, I think it resonates with everybody and what they do. And when I'm doing things in my world, I always think, am I putting a Cheeto in the lock? Sure, it's holding that door shut, but is it really effective? And that's, I hope this is like a reminder for the different things that we're going to be talking about during this presentation about, I guess, your current systems and what can we do to beef up that lock and get rid of that Cheeto and put something a little bit more durable and reliable in that door. The topics for this presentation are going to focus on three key areas: remote access, data backup, and cybersecurity. Those are during this pandemic, those are the three core items that every dental practice should be at least thinking about because they have a major impact on, I guess, capabilities and also your security. This image is a great example of how most people feel right now. They are quarantined and have to, they want to do work, but they don't know how to do work from home. And everybody hears remote access. You need remote access, but what does that really mean? And hopefully the next slide in this presentation will kind of help frame and guide you as to what's the best solution out there. When it comes to remote access, there are some very important things to factor before you decide on a solution. The main one is not all remote access tools are the same. You can open up Google and do a search for remote access tools, and you're going to find so many options, your head's going to spin. Speak with your IT provider. Make sure that you are doing, you're selecting a product that is reputable and secure and easy to use. The main factor from my perspective in any selection for remote access is security. And like the general rule of thumb is, if it's really easy to use, it's probably not very secure. And the other thing is, if it's free, nothing is free. So there's I guess a lot of tools out there, and I guess the good checklist to start with to make sure you're selecting the right one is the company that you are choosing to use for remote access, are they well known? Do they use AES 256-bit encryption? Is there two-step authentication, meaning that you have a username and password, but then you also receive a special code from via email or by text before you can fully log into that system? And then lastly, can you log access? So from the business owner perspective, I want to know who's coming and going remotely, because if there's no no way to have that track record, it's a little bit scary, especially when you don't know who has access to the systems. Don't listen to this guy. Yes, he's full of bad advice. Backups are one of the most important IT functions for any business today. Data backups are even more important today than they were a few weeks ago, pre-pandemic. And the reason why is before you had a routine where you knew who was going to be triggering the backups nightly, daily, or however often, if you didn't have IT already doing it. Well, now that everybody is potentially working from home, or maybe that person is no longer able to get to the office that was responsible for the backups, who's doing them now? So you really need to create a plan for who's doing the backup, how they're doing the backup, when they're doing the backup, so that way somebody is responsible for it. And you still need to be doing daily backups. So you also should be doing off-site backups. The reason why has more to do with cybersecurity, and it kind of dovetails into this last bullet point of remote access introduces higher need for backups. They're fully managed and validated daily. Why? It's because of security. So you have somebody remoting in from work, managing the schedule, potentially calling patients to reschedule, and they're using maybe their personal computer at home. You don't know what's on that personal computer that might be a threat, that because of the remote access that they're using, some of that stuff might spill into your work environment. And then it trickles down into all of the computers in that environment, specifically the server. And if you're only doing backups on site, they could be compromised because of threats from outside of your organization. That's the reason why data backups are so important, and especially off-site, because if something happens on-site, you can still get your off-site backups. So the main takeaway here is don't take your eye off the ball. Backups are even more important today than they were a couple weeks ago before everything hit. So make sure that you have a good plan in place and you're sticking to that plan. I love this image. I sympathize with all the different passwords that everybody needs to remember, and it's really easy just to have that same password for every different system that you use, because when you have multiple people trying to access that one website, it's a huge pain to have something unique for every person. But I think this image really highlights that keeping passwords simple is a huge cybersecurity risk. So I thought you'd get a kick out of this image. So cybersecurity, this one is going to be probably, you're going to hear more and more of this in the news over time. And essentially what is happening right now, the world is distracted by COVID-19. There's no debating that. And the bad actors of the world are going to take this situation and turn it to their advantage by sending out different, malicious emails, or creating different threats that will, under normal circumstances, when you weren't distracted, probably would be caught. But now that email that looks legit, you're going to click on the links, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to get crypto locked, and it's going to compound the situation. So during this downtime, for whatever time you might have, either work with your IT or work internally to figure out, what are the firewall rules? Do you have anything that's open that might allow somebody into your network that you don't even realize? What about your antivirus or anti-malware protection? How is it configured? Is it on? Is your Windows firewall on? Do you have a different firewall on every computer? What about email security? Do you have some sort of spam filter that ensures that it's going to look for anything malicious and not even let it hit your inbox? What about Wi-Fi? Do you have Wi-Fi that's wide open? Well, does that Wi-Fi allow guests to maybe see your server? If so, you should change that. And then another idea is the remote access tool. So if you have remote access, maybe take a few minutes and look at the security of your remote access tool. Is it dialed into where you need it to be? And that could go on and on. And I highly recommend that you work with your IT provider to kind of do some of these, review of different systems that are in place to ensure that you're protected. And that if something does get into your environment, how is it going to be detected and how is it going to be stopped? That's really important to know right now. And lastly, HIPAA guidelines for IT security, they're a little bit vague, but they're also pretty specific. So work with your IT provider. Understand what do you have today, what should you be doing differently, maybe going forward, to align with HIPAA best practices. So backups, endpoint security, maybe even firewalls that have advanced threat protection, so that it is looking at threats coming in from the internet, but also going across your network once it's already inside. There's some pretty cool stuff that you can do for low cost that adds multiple layers to protection, because there's no one solution that's gonna be comprehensive enough to stop every threat. So cybersecurity, don't take your eye off the ball. Make sure that this is something that is really top of mind with everything going on right now, because people will take advantage of the situation. I went over the three topics of remote access, data backup, and cybersecurity at a pretty high level. And I'd love to chat with you directly. If you have any, detailed questions, here are my contact details. Our website is codasystems.com. You can always call our general support number, 605-799-1199, and talk with me or one of my team members, and we can walk through any questions you might have. My direct email is ryan@coda.tech, and here's my mobile number, 605-777-2200. Feel free to call me. I'm here for you guys. I know it's a kind of a stressful time and there's lots of questions, and don't hesitate to reach out. And as part of this presentation, I talked about remote access and knowing what's the right one to choose. Well, anybody that reaches out to me, they're eligible for one free remote access license. This is something that I would typically charge $35 a month, because it checks all of the boxes, is HIPAA compliant. But in light of the situation, I'm giving one license away for, anybody that's interested for each practice. But you got to make sure that the business owner approves. So feel free to reach out if you're interested in that offer. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to, what I had to share. Thank you very much.